if there's one thing that we've learned from the past year of coronavirus, or past year and a half, I guess you could say, it's the importance of human interaction. It's the importance of community, and being able to be around people in that sense. And I decided today to kind of talk a little bit about community because with a year and a half past, we've moved the Light on the Hill fully to being an online service, with with some in-person sort of events, namely our service projects that we do each and every single month. And this is a pretty major shift because throughout the entire history of the church, from its founding, you've always had churches as these local groups and local communities that meet face to face. And moving an entire service online, which we're not the only church doing this. There are plenty that are others that are doing this. And honestly, I think in the next 10 years, we're probably going to see a real rise in sort of online churches. In doing this type of thing, we're entering into a world that really the church has never experienced and kind of dealt with. And so this kind of idea of community is something that has really been on my mind throughout all of this because I think it is the biggest challenge that comes with all of this. There's always a temptation when you're a pastor or you're anybody who's in a position like this and things are changing, new technology is allowing things that wasn't possible before, to kind of resist it. Not necessarily even in like a sort of angry or viewing it as sort of a bad thing, but just kind of in the sense of concluding that, well, the old ways worked, and so we really necessarily shouldn't change that. And I do feel like at times, even myself has kind of gotten caught up in that. Partly what I'm talking about here is there is a push to get people back into churches. And I don't think that's a wrong thing. I do think that if you attended in person before the pandemic and you have been vaccinated and you are, safe to go in and be around other people, you absolutely should return. Go back and become a direct part of that community. But that isn't possible for everybody. The great thing about the pandemic is that the church has been kind of forced to innovate, as everyone has, and in the process has found that you're able to reach individuals that you never would have been able to reach otherwise. I know in looking at numbers throughout the year, we have, here at Timonium United Methodist Church, have found, both with Light on the Hill and with our other online service that we do, the traditional service, that we have actually managed to kind of cross into an almost international type of audience at times. And obviously, if you live outside of the United States, you can't come and be a direct part of our local community. So what am I kind of getting at here with all of this? Well, I believe going forward with Light on the Hill and with everything that this is really a good thing. I think it is good that we have innovated. I think it is good that we are moving services and churches online. But I do believe that there are challenges, and the big one is making sure that everybody has that sense of community that is so important to Christianity. It really is one of the sort of cornerstones with it. We're told in Scripture to not give up, meeting with each other. We're told to come together. And a big part of it is because when you are a part of a community, you're able to go to people and have your burdens, carried, bared by other people. And that's really important. But when we're meeting online, obviously there is a temptation to kind of almost move to being essentially like a hermit living in a cave out in the middle of nowhere and just not have any involvement with anybody like that. And that's really not what we're necessarily called to do and be. And even as humans, that is against our nature. Even if you're extremely introverted, which I am, believe me, I love nothing more than being completely by myself at as many points of the time as I possibly can. And being around people stresses me out tremendously. But, you still long for those, kind of social interactions still. Even in my own life, I long for it. I missed seeing my friends during that holy time when we couldn't, just because of the way things were. And I was very excited when we were finally able to. So what this means is, from my perspective, I'm going to make you all a promise, which is that over the next year, and really years, that I am here at Timonium United Methodist Church and that I am involved with Light on the Hill, we are going to do everything in our power to try and directly tackle creating this sense of community. I really want those of you out there who only worship online with us, who are out there, to feel connected to us as a church, and to be able to build connections with people who don't worship online with us and attend in person. And so there are some things that we have been talking about to do. I have nothing to really specifically announce right now because it's still somewhat being worked out. But you will be hearing things moving forward about opportunities to get involved with different things. Obviously, we do have our monthly service project, which if you are in the Baltimore area, I would love to see you come. You could, even if I have never met you before in person, if you show up and say, "Hey, I worship online," I will do my best to make you fit in, to make you feel like you're at home and welcomed. But I do really believe, like, this next year and this next couple of years, I really do want to just make you all know that, my promise is that we're going to try and do things to build that community. And it's probably going to be rough. I'm sure we're going to make a lot of mistakes. But I think it's necessary. And I really do think that this is something that is going to be there moving forward. And instead of trying to resist it and go back to the old ways that we're all used to, I think it's better to embrace it and do what we can to take on whatever challenges that come with it, to make it the best thing that it can be. Because as I said, community is incredibly important, and if you're out there worshiping with us online, you are a part of this community. And so we should do what we can to make you feel a part of it.